So the first one I want to go over with you is your Array 2. This is the intestinal antigenic permeability screen. So this is basically looking at, do you have leaky gut or not? That's the slang term for it. It's been in the research for at least 20 years. So how you want to view this is, an ulcer is a big hole. And if we go down there with a camera, we go, oh, there's an ulcer. But some people have no ulcer at all. And when they go down with the camera, there's nothing that they see. So they tell them there's nothing wrong, which is untrue. So you want to picture your gut as a screen with little microscopic holes. If I then took my pen and poked holes in that screen, that's intestinal antigenic permeability or leaky gut. And then what happens is now information that comes, food and other stuff that comes in through the gut can get in through those holes. And as they get in through those holes, they can create major changes in immune function because your immune system is sitting there waiting for them. And then gradually over a time frame also, now they produce antibodies, which creates chronic sustained inflammatory responses. And they release chemicals called cytokines, which can damage the brain and the whole body. It also dramatically increases the person's stress levels because the number one stressor in most cases that I see is not mental emotional. It is chemical stress coming from issues with the gut. 95% of all disease has been shown to be epigenetic, which means there's not genetic glitches. And the number one process that I see, and that most top practitioners, similar to the way I think, view things, is the number one process out there that's creating 95% of these diseases is a sustained inflammatory response, and all sustained inflammatory responses start in the gut. So there's three things that were measured. There's your actomyosin, there's your occludin zonulin, and then there's your LPS, or bacterial endotoxin. So let me explain this to you. So the cell lining in your gut is a single cell wall. So literally there's one cell that separates your gut from the inside of you. So if we get cracks or leaks in that, it's a big deal, and we don't want that at all. So the cells themselves, what we're measuring there is what's called the actomyosin. Then what happens is the thing that connects the cells together, the cross bridges, that's what's called your occludin zonulin. So those are proteins that connect the cells together. And then the amount of good to bad bacteria inside our gut, our large intestine, if it's balanced and we don't have very many bad bacteria down there or pathogenic bacteria, then we have what's called our normal gut microbiome, and health really starts there. But if that gut microbiome goes off and you get an imbalance and there's too many pathogenic, bad types of bacteria, viruses, yeast, fungus, parasites hanging out down there, then we go into what's called dysbiosis. And a lot of these bacteria, the abnormal bacteria that hang out down there, they will produce these products called lipopolysaccharides. These lipopolysaccharides are fats and sugars. They produce those to basically protect themselves. But over a time frame, they can then leak through the gut, and they can even create leaky gut. And they are major, major, major inflammatory products. So if they get in, either by coming through the cells or working their way through the occludin zonulin or creating an overt break, then when those get in, they create massive inflammation. They're majorly involved in a lot of different diseases and also a lot of neuropsychiatric issues like depression, anxiety, bipolar, schizophrenia, neurodegenerative diseases like Lou Gehrig's disease, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, dementia, dystonia, autism, ADD, ADHD. These are major players in that process. So when you get your test results back, on there you're going to see a list. And on that list we see three things that we measured: actomyosin, occludin zonulin, and lipopolysaccharides. So we can give you the Tearsheet, because if something tested positive in the yellow and the pink, it means that it's a positive. The other thing you also want to know is sometimes your immune system is so tired that if the range is between 1 and 2, and you have chronic issues, and your other expanded blood test shows that your ability to make antibodies is chronically low, then I may consider a very low number or below normal number to be positive. So for instance, if we get it back in your actomyosin, the range is between, let's just use a round number again, between 1 and 2, and you fire off a 0.9 or a 1, and I look on your expanded panel and it says, hey, the ability to make antibodies is low, I'm going to tell you that that's positive. I'm very conservative with these tests. I learned directly from the gentleman that runs the lab on how to interpret these. I run more of these tests than anyone in the U.S. Combined, except one other small lab, one other small office, a small hospital actually, in the Midwest. So I'm the #1 doctor in the New Jersey, and I do more of these labs than all other doctors combined in New Jersey. I've been using these labs since 2009 or 10. I've seen thousands of them. I know how to interpret them. And in my opinion, this is the best lab out there. Dr. Vujjani, who runs this lab, is the #1 immunologist pathologist in the world. He's published more papers than anyone combined. And he was the first person in the United States to get involved with food testing, autoimmune testing, food immune reactions, leaky gut. He's really in a class on his own. And this is the reason why I suggest that you pay for the best testing possible so you can get the best results possible. So depending upon also what we see here, I usually will be able to give you a timeline, meaning I think that your problem, your gut, is going to take usually between 6 months and 3 years to heal on a microscopic level. That doesn't mean it takes 6 months to 3 years to feel better. Most people are noticing a substantial change in my office here within 1 to 4 weeks if you're doing what I'm telling you to do. But on a microscopic level, to heal a very bad leaky gut, you're looking at 6 months to 3 years. And I'll be able to tell you that timeline better as we go through your exact results, and I'll write it down for you. You're also going to get a little picture that I wrote that explains all of these different processes that are going on inside there. It talks about the leaky gut. It talks about the 5 or 6 different reasons that create leaky gut. It talks about what happens if you eat something wrong. Let me just explain this to you too. If you eat something wrong that you shouldn't, let's just use the word gluten. You create leaky gut within 5 minutes. You get 50% healing in 4 weeks, and you get 72% healing in 6 months. So that means if you cheat even a smidge, a drop, you're never going to get better. Never. So it's got to be 150% out for your gut to have an opportunity to heal. So we'll be going over your exact results in just a few minutes, and I hope you found this helpful.